Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to chat with you today about time management. It's one of my favorite topics to talk about because time management is tricky. It's really tricky, and it's something that I kind of used to suck at a lot, like a lot. And I've had to learn from all the hard ways how to do time management. So I can't wait to chat with you about it today. And I can't wait to hear some of the ways that you do time management as well. So we're going to start. So one of the reasons, I have worked from home ever since my oldest daughter was a baby. So it's been 18 years that I have worked from home. So there's a lot of things I've had to learn the hard way. And I ended up teaching a course. If you want to learn something, teach about it, because I feel like the teacher always learns more. And so I ended up teaching a course when I was a photographer, and the course was called Bond Organize. And it was about, it was a play off my last name, France, and it was about organizing your time. So I can't wait to talk to you about this topic. So first, I'm going to teach you guys an acronym, because I love me an acronym. And that acronym is DARE. I dare you to design your life and live your best life. So first we're going to break it down into, so the DARE stands for designate, automate, reevaluate, and eliminate and delegate. So so we're going to talk about each one of those things in this next half hour. And so the first one is to designate. And you guys, the word designate stems from design. And so we're going to be talking about designing your life. This is something that I have been teaching my daughter, who is going to hair school, but she's doing it all online here in California. Everything's still online for her, and which is so funny that you have to go to hair school online, but that's what she's doing. And at least for the beginning part. So I'm teaching her how to manage her time and how to time block. And so that's what got me thinking, like, I need to teach this to my team, because it's so helpful when you are working from home and when you do have a schedule that's kind of all over the place. And also when you do have a schedule that you are like, when you have a schedule that is kind of all over the place, but also if you're working from home and maybe you're a stay-at-home mom like me, you have like all these hours in a day, and it's like, what do I do with all these different hours, right? And so we're going to talk about time blocking today. And so one of the ways, and I've taught this before, and this is in our team Google Drive, is time blocking is like coming up with, looking at all the hours that you have. I love to do this on Sunday, kind of like look at what I've got going on in the week and make sure it's in my calendar. So I prefer to use my iCalendar, but you can use this printout if you don't have like an iCalendar on your iPhone. But I like to use this, and I'm going to talk about it a lot in case you do have. How many of you, comment below if you do have an Apple phone? Because if you do have an Apple phone, then you've got an iCalendar like this that will show you that you can really time block easily in. I think these are great, but sometimes even the act of printing it out is like a hurdle, right? So I love being able to time block on my iCalendar, and I've been doing it a lot more, you guys, and I freaking love it, because it shows me, I'm such a visual person, and it really shows you visually how much time you actually have. Like, so you can see here, I've got all sorts of things blocked off for the day already. And some of these are consistent. So we're going to talk about how first you want to start with your play hours. I highly recommend that you designate work hours but also play hours. We're going to start with those play hours, those things in your, these are the things that we work hard for, right? So that we can have those play hours, and we can have that vacation time, or we can have that family time, or that playtime, you know, that we want. So those need to go in first, because we're going to build our life and our schedule around those fun things. So I want you to, whether you're using your iCalendar on your iPhone, or whether you're using something like this, or even just a calendar or a planner, whatever, there's no wrong or right way to do it. You have to do what works for you. And that might mean trying a few different things and seeing what works for you. But you're going to start by adding the things that you consistently do, or that you want to consistently do in your week. So some of the things I've got time blocked off for every week, or are like church. We go to church every Sunday. Date night. My husband and I do a date night every Saturday night. No, and we don't mess with that. We rarely mess with that. Sometimes we'll have to switch it to a Friday or whatever, but we've got a pretty consistent date night, and we've been doing that for, 15 years now. Holy crap. That's a long time. My son's 17 now. We started when he was like 2, going consistently, because we were like, my love language is quality time. And I was like, we need this. So anyway, date night, exercise. When are you going to work out? I've got my exercise and my getting ready time in there. I've got time getting my kids ready for school, and when we read scriptures and stuff. So that's blocked out. I've got lunch blocked out, because I want to sit down and eat a lunch. I don't want to eat at my desk. Like, I want to actually enjoy my lunch, because that's the lifestyle I want. You're designing the lifestyle that you want around, these things. And even if you work full time, you can still add in some of these things that you want to do, maybe after work, when you're on your days off, things like that. So I've got pickleball. I try to do pickleball once a week. What else do I have in there that are very consistent? I've got dinner. We try to have dinner at 6 o'clock every day. We try to be pretty scheduled, because we got to run a tight ship with 4 kids, and working from home, and just trying to reach all the goals that we have. I even have family prayers in my iCalendar here, and I have alerts. I have alarms that remind me. That's the other thing I love about the iPhone iCalendar, is that it reminds me. Like, you can set up alerts if you add a new thing into your calendar. I just set an alert for family prayer, and it will pop up and be like, you need to do your family prayer now, or in 5 minutes you have a team training, or whatever. So it's really cool. Like, so things you can add in here too are like, the trainings that I do every week at this time right now. You can add in the trainings that Color Street does. You can add in, if you consistently do a live sale or whatever. But first we're blocking out the fun stuff. Sorry, we don't want to add that yet. We're going to add the fun stuff first. So make sure you go through. This is the fun part that you're going to have. So going through, saying, okay, when am I going to eat breakfast? When am I going to eat lunch? When am I going to eat dinner? When am I going to move my body? And here's the thing, is that it's not going to be the same every day, but you can try to have it be the same kind of have like an ideal schedule. But we all know that that's not real life, that some days we don't eat lunch right at noon. Some days we don't eat dinner right at 6. You know what I mean? But having kind of an ideal schedule of when you want to do certain things, and then putting them in here and making them a daily recurring event. So that's what I've got here. And even like I have grocery shopping, when I'm going to go grocery shopping, things like that. So that can help me to be consistent with the things that I want to be consistent with, right? And then once you've got the fun stuff, grocery shopping is not fun. Once you've got the fun stuff in there and the things that are really important to you, your priorities, then you can add in your work hours. It is really important to have work hours. Like, obviously, if you don't have work hours, when are you working? You know what I mean? And I think that's what a lot of people do, is they're like, I need to do Color Street, but they the day just kind of gets away with them. And it's like, well, that's because you have all these things going on that you don't even realize are happening. Like when I started writing this down, it was like, oh shoot, I don't have time then, because that's when my boys get ready for school and I try to help them, I make their breakfast and stuff like that. So obviously you can see that there's certain times that is like, well, obviously I can't work at that time. So it gives you like a realistic picture of a visual of like what hours you do have available. And I think it's important to do this every week. That's why it's good to like fill out this thing that I made for you, this weekly work schedule, because every week might be different. Maybe your job has, maybe you work full time and your job has different hours every week. Who knows? Life is crazy like that. And so it's important to like kind of reevaluate every week and be like, ooh, actually, I've got this going on. I've got this doctor's appointment. This kid is doing this sport or this thing. And so it's important to kind of like, that's why I really like Sundays, because number one, I don't work on Sundays. That's something I have off. I don't get on social media on Sunday. So I can really focus on my family and I can focus on my schedule for the future week. And I also can coordinate with my family schedules, because once you have teenagers, suddenly they have an agenda too. And you're like, well, crap, no, I have an agenda. You can't have an agenda, but then they have one. And so it's like, okay, what's your schedule? And the cool thing with my daughter is she can add in, like on the iCalendar, she can add in things she's got going on, and she can add me as an invitee. So she'll invite me to some of her events, and it will show up on my calendar, and I'll be like, oh, okay, Savannah's got this thing going on. So I know what my kids' schedules are like too. So that's really helpful too. And you can sync it and color code it and everything. I'm telling you, the iCalendar, like spend a hot minute just playing around with it. I honestly had not used it very much until like a month ago. And then I was like, wait a minute, this is amazing. This is amazing. And I did it because I was trying to teach my daughter to time block. And so I freaking love it. So that's super important. Putting in the play hours, then adding in the work hours. So here I've got, I add in like my power hour every day. So I've got a power hour every day, and I even have the things that, I do during my power hour. So that's blocked off. Is it going to be perfect? Is it always going to be every day at 1 p.m.? Not necessarily, but at least I know, and I can even add, I don't think I added an alert. No, I can add alerts that tell me like 5 minutes before, and I can add a second alert that tells me like an hour before that, hey, you've got to do your power hour. You've got to do your daily consistent things, your 4 Ps every day. So that's important, putting in like your power hour. And some of you might only do 15 minutes chunks of your power hour, and that's fine. But it's just good to like really look at, okay, what do I really have going on? And then you can have a realistic view of how much time you have to work. And even adding in, I'll even add in like watching The Bachelor and, things that are a priority. That's a priority to me. Some other tips for you guys are, so I think it's super important to have work hours. Treat this business like the $1 million business that it is, because it is. Treat it like $1 million business because it is. So if you were the CEO of $1 million business, wouldn't you have some work hours, and wouldn't you have a workspace? I think you would. And so I think it's super important to treat this, to act like a CEO. And so ever since I started Color Street, I had a very big why. We were struggling financially, living paycheck to paycheck, living close to poverty level. I knew that I either needed to work this business or get a job. So I treated this business like a job, and I worked about 4 hours every day. And that was 4 years ago. It's like my 4-year anniversary this month, which is insane. I don't know if I've ever done anything for 4 years. I'm like a serial entrepreneur. So, anyways, 4 years, and I've been working about 4 hours a day, every 5 days a week. Sometimes I make it up, sometimes I won't work at all that day and I'll make it up the next day. But I try to be consistent and work, on my business every day. But it can work around your schedule. And that's the important thing about time blocking, because it's got to be customized to you and your lifestyle and your priorities and the things you have going on. And that's why time blocking is so important, you guys. That is a huge key to success. I've said this before, but success leaves clues. And the leaders in our company, the top leaders, I see many of them doing time blocking and setting work hours. And then during my work hours, I work from a checklist, and it's a very small, it's usually like just a small Post-it note. Otherwise I will get overwhelmed. So just something like this. I've been using these for years, these little small little 2x2 Post-it notes, and I'll just have it on my desk in my designated workspace and go through it. And don't add too many things, because then you'll get overwhelmed and you won't do any of them. I used to make giant to-do lists that were a page long, and then I would just want to rock myself in the fetal position and do none of it. So don't make giant to-do lists, please. Just make a small, simple list and work from that list. Set a timer. I have a timer here. Setting a timer, it helps, when I had to just really learn to be careful with my time, because when you've got 4 kids like I do, and you have small windows of time to work, it's like mama's got to focus, and I've got to get the things done that are the income producing activities, because once my time is up, my kids need me and I'm done and my time is out. So working with those windows of time and being really intentional is super important. And it's something I've had to learn the hard way, because there were many times where I had many mommy meltdowns where I felt like I was either sucking at being a business owner or sucking at being a mom. And so I had to learn to really be kind of hardcore about time management. So yeah. What else? Let's see. Another thing that has helped me is to wake up early. And I know a lot of people don't like that. And if that's not your style, if you're a night owl, then maybe you stay up a little later and you get your work done. And my daughter is a night owl. So sometimes I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. Then if that's when you get your best work done, then make those your work hours and get her done. But a way that you can gain an extra day is by, if you wanted to gain an extra day, this is a tip from a book I read by Mary Kay, the founder of Mary Kay. She said she's in the 5 o'clock club, and she would wake up at 5 a.m. And I'm not saying I do this every day. I did do it today, but she wakes up at 5 a.m. every day, and she would get, let's say you normally wake up at 7 a.m. If you wake up at 5 a.m. every day for 7 days a week, then that gives you 2 extra hours per day. 2 extra hours times 7 is 14 hours. That's almost a whole day of extra time that you could get. So if you're struggling to find time, if you filled out this nail boss work schedule and it's completely full and you're like, I don't know when I'm gonna, then it's time to wake up a little earlier, or maybe stay up a little later, depending on what works well for you. If I stay up late, I'm a grumpy, emotional human. So that doesn't work for me. But so you got to find what works for you. Maybe it's working during your lunch hour of, in between jobs. You've got to find what works for you and try different things, and then keep doing what works for you. What else? Do the worst first. That's another tip that I tell my children often. Don't do the fun things. And I highly recommend doing the worst first. Get some of those crappy things out of the way that you've been procrastinating for a while. Try to do those first, and then give yourself a reward. Sometimes I'll be like, hey, if I do this thing, then I get to go, you know, have a little piece of chocolate, or I get to scroll on Instagram or whatever. So, and sometimes I'll set it up with my daughter. I'm like, Kate, let's both work on our work, and at this hour, we'll go get a Diet Coke. So you can set it up, you know, with your kids, with your family, with your accountability partner. It really helps to have an accountability partner too. Another thing that helps is using airplane mode during your work hours, so that you're not like every ping is distracting you and you just keep getting sucked into all these chats, right? So put your phone in airplane mode. And then let's see, I think those are the main tips there. All right, let's talk about designating a workspace. So I think it's super important. You guys, I used to work in my living room and my kids would climb up my back and like be like playing with my head while I was trying to type, and it was so obnoxious. Nothing is more frustrating than being interrupted in your work. It's hard when you're like starting to get focused and suddenly someone interrupts you, right? So it's super important. So I learned like having my office in the living room did not work. It did not work with young kids, because it was like I was like a target. Like they were like, oh, there's mom, I'm gonna, you know. But if you're in a room where the door closes, that helps so much. So I finally, and I even did this when we lived in my mom's basement, and we had a 2-bedroom apartment in my mom's basement. I had all the kids in one room. I had the baby sleeping under the stairs, and I made my bedroom also be an office. And so that I could work somewhere where the door could close if I needed to. I've also hired babysitters, like to come to my house and watch my kids while I worked. I would also do strategic screen time, where I was like, Kate, you guys can only watch a show during this hour, and that's when mom's gonna work. So you're gonna have to get a little creative with things, but that's how you get crap done, you guys. Okay, so let's see. So having a workspace really helped a lot. So I highly recommend that, just because it is really frustrating when you get interrupted. Like, can we all agree on that one? And that doesn't mean that I don't get interrupted. I still get interrupted, but not as much, because they know that I'm working when I'm in my office. Like, and I know that I'm working when I'm in my office. I know that when I'm in here, it's go time. Mama's got to work. And then I try to be done. But when my kids are done from school, I try to be done too, because I don't want to be, because that's not the lifestyle I want. I want to be with my kids when they're home. So let's see, automate. Okay, so we talked about designating work hours and a workspace. Now we're going to talk about automating. Automating is huge. I'm all about not reinventing the wheel. We have so many, like, it's so important to create or use systems as a business owner. So I'm all about creating systems, and I create systems for me that work for me, and then I love to share them with you guys. And I've done that since day one. I think that's one of the reasons our team is so successful, is because it's like, because there were systems that were like step by step that I knew I could use and I could refer to in years to come. And then you guys could use them as well. So I highly recommend coming up with your own systems, and also sharing them with your teams so that they can use them too. Because it's hard to remember. Like, I'm a mom of 4, I forget things all the time because of that, because #mom life, right? So coming up with systems of, here's how I do my launches, and like breaking it down into step 1, 2, 3, 4. I have looked back on like past fall launches, past spring launches, past holiday launches, and been like, oh yeah, that's how I did Valentine's. And it's given me ideas for that year too. Because, you know, if you're here for the long haul like I am, you're going to want those systems, and you're going to want to remember what you did that was successful in the past, or what you said that was successful, or what you said that wasn't successful. Like, it's good to like write it down so that you can notice patterns in your business and reuse things. So creating scripts for yourself, creating templates for yourself and for your team. Another thing is having days of the week that kind of prompt you to do certain things. So like, I have Saturdays as my shipping day. So that's when I package all my crap up. My office gets super dirty on Saturdays because that's when I package all my stuff up and go to the post office and ship things. So pick a day of the week where you batch things. Batching is huge, you guys. You would not just wash one sock in the washer, am I right? And yet we do this where we check one email at a time, or we, we're getting constantly sucked into each message. You don't need to respond to every message instantly. Like, no, please. I don't want you to be sucked to your phone. Like, that's not the life that you want, right? And so when, choose a time where you're going to answer messages, choose a time that you're going to, write your thank yous, that you're going to package samples, whatever it is. Like, choose times where you batch things out, maybe times where you schedule out posts or parties or whatever. But that way you can do a whole bunch at once and not one at a time, because that is like washing a sock, one sock in the washer at a time. You're not going to get that much done if you do it that way. Okay, well, let me see what else I was going to say. Okay, the R in this, we're almost out of time. The R is reevaluate your plate. So really look at how are you spending your time? And maybe that means looking at your phone. A lot of phones will tell you now what you're, how you're using your time, how much time you're on your phone, things like that. And then finally, eliminate and delegate. This is one of my favorites. Delegate and eliminate, the E in the DARE acronym. And that is saying no and accepting that you cannot do it all, and accepting that it's okay to ask for help from your team or ask for help from your family, even hiring an assistant. Those are all things that are going to help you succeed. You cannot be a one-man band like that. I don't see a lot of successful business owners that are doing everything all by themselves. You will burn out, like that's a guarantee. So come up with things that you hate to do and delegate them. If you're not sure what to delegate, think about what you hate and what you procrastinate. Those are the things you delegate. Okay. All right, guys, we are out of time, but I hope that this helped you in some way or the other. If you have any tips as well, comment and share them below. Anything you use, any apps you use, any planners you love, things like that. I'd love to hear what works for you guys too. But time blocking is huge. And if the sooner you can do it, the more success, the more you will live a life by design. And that's what I want for you guys. That's why we do, Color Streets, so that we can live a life by design. We can work around our priorities and like schedule, do the things that we want to do and have time for those. And so I hope this helped. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.